In Shopflow, we start by creating a new job for incoming assets. We select the customer and add a brief description of the work. From there, we choose which inspection types are required and can enable syncing with the asset tracker to keep everything connected. If needed, we can set paint preferences and assign a color. Once saved, the job is ready for asset intake and inspection. As assets arrive at the shop, the first step is to either verify an existing tag and its details, or intake the asset into the tracking system if no tag is present. This ensures every asset is accounted for, accurate, and ready to proceed through inspection. If an asset arrives with a tag, the first step is to scan it using the mobile tool. This pulls up the asset's profile from the tracking system. The technician verifies key details like serial number, dimensions, and image to make sure everything is correct. If any information is outdated or incorrect, it's edited before continuing. If the tag and details are accurate, the asset is cleared for inspection. If a tag is damaged, a new one is added on to be programmed to that asset ID. If the asset has no tag at all, a clean spot is prepared for tag placement. The technician locates the serial number, if available, and manually intakes the asset into the system by entering all of its key details. Once the asset record is saved, the tag is ready to write and track like any other. Once the asset is recorded in the system, either from manual intake or tag recovery, the final step is to write all new NFC tags. The technician copies the asset's URL from the system and writes it to the tag using the NFC writer tool. This links the tag directly to the asset's record, allowing it to be scanned instantly for verification moving forward. After assets are intaked and tagged, the assets are ready to be added to a job in Shopflow. To do this, the technician opens the Manage a Job screen and selects the job they're working on. From there, they click Add Asset and either scan the tag or manually enter the asset ID. They're then prompted to confirm whether banding is present on the asset and perform a visual inspection. After the visual is complete, the UT batch number is recorded and the asset is saved to the job. This process is repeated until all inspected assets are added. The Manage a Job screen is a central tool for overseeing and progressing work on an active job. After selecting a job, technicians can view all associated assets, add new ones, manage inventory, and track inspection progress. Key actions like visual inspection, pressure testing, banding, and cert report review are all accessible from this screen. It plays a vital role in managing jobs efficiently and keeping work organized from intake to completion. Once all assets have been added to a job, technicians can upload UT data in bulk. From the Shopflow main menu, they click Upload UT and select the job they're working on. They then choose the corresponding UT batch CSV file for that job. Once uploaded, the system matches each UT batch to its assigned assets and updates their inspection records. Technicians can then view updated UT readings and inspection status directly in the Manage Job page. Alternatively, UT data can also be uploaded directly from the job page by clicking the UT icon. Pressure testing is a key part of the inspection process. From the job page, technicians log results by selecting Pass, Fail, or Rebuild, each triggering a specific workflow for tracking, documentation, and next steps. When an asset passes pressure testing, the technician selects Pass from the Pressure Test menu. Each asset that passed is scanned individually. This ensures the system records exactly which assets were successful. Banding notes are entered to provide reference for the banding PNG that will be sent to the banding machine. Once all passing assets are scanned and updated, a pressure test PDF is generated and submitted by pressing the pressure icon to complete documentation for the job. If an asset fails pressure testing, the technician selects Fail from the Pressure Test menu. Each failed asset is scanned individually, so the system can accurately record the failure. A failure comment is entered to explain why the asset didn't pass, and an image is uploaded as visual evidence. Once all failed assets have been scanned and documented, the technician clicks Submit Failed Tests to complete the entry. The asset is then marked as failed. If an asset needs to be rebuilt after pressure testing, the technician selects Rebuild from the Pressure Test menu. Each asset that requires a rebuild is scanned. Once all rebuild candidates are scanned, the technician clicks Submit Rebuilds to begin the rebuild entry process. From there, the technician clicks the rebuild icon for each asset and fills out detailed information, including the type of rebuild, notes, images, and any relevant details. Once submitted, the asset is updated with its rebuild record and re-entered into the workflow. Rebuilt assets must pass another pressure test before being cleared. Once inspections are complete for a job, technicians can generate reports by clicking Process Work Orders from the job page. This opens a list of all shop numbers tied to all jobs. Technicians can filter the list to narrow down specific assets, then select the ones they want to generate reports for. Clicking Process Work Order brings up a summary view, allowing the technician to confirm details before proceeding. Once processed, the job page is updated with finalized cert reports for each selected asset. In this video, we'll walk through how to mark an asset for rebuild and complete the rebuild workflow. If an asset needs to be rebuilt, the first step is to mark it for rebuild. To do this, click the pressure icon. Scan the asset's NFC tag, and once the asset loads, click Submit for rebuild. Next, click the rebuild icon to begin specifying the rebuild details. Here, fill out the following information: the type of rebuild being performed, the repair kit that was used, a second set of eyes check, any notes that should be included, and finally, upload an image of the rebuilt asset. When everything looks good, click Submit. The asset is now officially marked as rebuilt and updated in the system.
This demo is showing off the nearest available assets feature. First thing that we'll want to do is choose a starting location. We can do this through pin sites, latitude, longitude, or we can just use the user's location, which is what we will do here. Next up, we can filter for what asset we're looking for. You can do this by asset type, size, CWP, cert window, status, manufacturer, and a maximum distance. In this case, we'll look for 2-inch plug valves, and we'll make sure that they are in cert. Once you click Find, all of your nearest assets will populate this results table with the nearest assets showing up first. If you want this data in a visual map, you can click the Show Map and see a map of all of your assets and where they're located at. You can also click on these clusters to see what specific assets are where, what jobs they're on, and how far away they are. This demo is going to be showing the new rigged status feature in Provident Asset Tracker. There's a couple different ways that you can mark an asset as rigged. The first way to do this is through consignment. Once you have an asset that you are ready to consign, you can scan it, click Actions, click Consign, and at the bottom of the consignment form, there's a rigged checkbox. Checking this will mark it as rigged to whatever job it is going to. Once the asset is rigged up, we can go to the job. We can see here there is a new event for the rigged asset, and there's also a new column in the table showing assets that are rigged on this job. As you can see, current consigned assets now has a rig status, so you can filter between assets that are rigged on the job and assets that are just consigned. Another way to rig assets on a job is through the staged function. You're able to click on these 3 dots, and upon consignment, you get the same checkbox that allows you to mark these assets as rigged. The final way to rig assets is through the Actions option in the Scan tool. You're able to click on Actions, and if the assets are consigned, you can scan as many as you want and mark them rigged. Now all of these assets are rigged, and we can check the job to verify this.